Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how to create better social media video content from your phone. We get it. Not everyone has access to a $10,000 digital cinema camera, but you can still create really effective video content with the tool you carry in your pocket every day, your iPhone. So let's dive into 5 tips for creating social media video content with your phone. All right, the first tip is to have a plan. So think through, what is the goal of this video? Who's it for? Where's it gonna play? Make sure as you're writing the script and coming up with your concept for the video, you have the end in mind. Think about, what hooks are you gonna use? How are you gonna capture people's attention? And then think about, what is your call to action? What are you trying to get people to do? As you think through these things, it'll help you make sure that you have a strategy and a plan in place so that your video is effective, so that you have content that's really clear and people know what you're asking them to do. Okay, tip 2 is that quality matters. Now, you don't have to drop a ton of money on a new camera, but there's some little things you can do to really improve the quality overall. Things like improving your lighting, framing, and audio. Now, if you have access to LED lights, that's great. There's a ton of options and they're getting a lot more affordable. If you don't have access to any lights, you can always use a window. Just make sure the window is in front of you and keep the background a little bit darker. That'll help draw people's attention to you. If you're looking for help specifically with lighting, we'll dive a little bit deeper into that in another video. Okay, tip 3 is to use good composition. So when we talk about composition, there's tons of rules. There's the rule of thirds, leading lines, etc. And the bottom line is, those are really advanced concepts. For the sake of this video, we're gonna focus on some more basic things. The first one is headroom. So we're talking about the space above your head, that gap between the top of the frame and your head. You don't want too much room, but you also don't want your head bumping right up against it. The other thing to watch for with composition is making sure that you're leaving space for the different elements of the platform. If we talk about Instagram, you have the likes and the comments and your handle up top. So you want to make sure that you're framing your shot in a way that leaves space for those elements. The last thing to think about with composition is your background. What elements are you placing beside you and behind you to add interest to the frame? Nobody wants to look at a boring shot of you talking. So add some little interesting things in the background to make the frame a bit more interesting. The next tip I have for you is to improve your audio. Now, there's tons of ways that you can do this, and the first and easiest one is just to film in a quiet location. There's nothing worse than trying to watch a video where there's a ton of noise in the background or there's wind blowing in the microphone. So make sure you choose a nice quiet place to record your video. If you're gonna use the mics on your phone, just make sure you get the phone real close. The closer you are to those mics, the better it's gonna sound. For optimal quality, you could use something like a lav mic that connects to your phone, but that's a little bit advanced. You should be able to get away with just using your phone audio as long as you're in a nice quiet area and you're nice and close to that mic. Okay, my next tip for you is to show people using your product or service. The bottom line is that humans connect with other humans. We wanna see how it works. If you're a restaurant, show us the food, make us hungry. If you have a product, demonstrate how it works. If you're a service business, show us you performing your service. If the goal of your video is to help sell a product or service, showing and demonstrating that product or service can really help your video be effective. My next tip is to use captions. If you're gonna post your video on social media, you have to assume that people are gonna watch that video muted. The caption should help capture and hold people's attention, and as people are scrolling through, they'll see that content, they'll be interested, and they'll stick around and watch your video. If you post a video of somebody talking without captions, people are just gonna swipe right past it because they don't know what you're saying. So using those captions can really help capture people's attention. A bonus tip here is to use text alongside of your captions as a hook. So if you have a really interesting line or a concept that video is talking about, post the text overlaid of your video next to your captions so people can read what the video is about. All right, guys, the final tip for today is to make sure that you're measuring performance and reviewing analytics. In order for your video to be effective, you have to be measuring performance. This isn't a guessing game. We can look at some solid numbers. We always like to test 3 or 4 different ads and just have minor changes to the call to actions, hooks, etc. Make sure you're reviewing analytics on your reels, seeing which ones do best. You can look at things like engagement, likes, comments, saves, shares, watch time, clicks, and results. All of these metrics are gonna tell you if your video is actually effective or not. And again, this isn't a guessing game. Look at the actual numbers and know which videos are performing best and make more content like that. All right, guys, we hope these 5 simple tips were helpful for you today. If you apply these tips, I guarantee that your video content is gonna be better, be more effective. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.